everybody, Bernardo here, and today I'm going to do a quick review of another device from Inateck. Now, this is a USB hard drive enclosure. Basically what it allows you to do is take a 2.5-inch laptop hard drive, insert this in the enclosure, and then it becomes an external USB drive. Just to look at some key specifications, this is model number FE2006. It has a USB 3.0 interface and it supports speeds of up to 5 gigabits per second. As far as operating system support, we see that it supports anything from Windows XP all the way up to Windows 8.1, and it also mentions Mac OS. Now, the product literature doesn't say anything about Linux, but I suspect it will work just fine on Linux as well. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look inside the box. Alright, first we have the device itself, and we'll take it out of the packaging. We also have a piece of foam, and I'm not sure what that is, but I have a hunch about it, and we'll look at that later. And then lastly we have the USB cable, which is a standard USB 3 cable. And now let's take a look at how we pull this apart. There we go. Slides right off, and we can see the SATA connection right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this hard drive in here, and then we can slide this on. Now, I don't feel it rattling. It seems to be a pretty tight fit. On the back here, I see a place to plug in the cable. I see an active light, apparently an activity light, and then it also has a place where you can plug in some kind of power adapter, a 5-volt power adapter. Now, there is no power adapter with it. I assume the only time that is needed is if you plug it into a port that is not supplying adequate power. Now, if you've used USB drives like this, you know that that does happen sometimes, especially if you're running it off a USB hub, for example, that isn't powered. You might find that there's not enough power there to spin up the drives. It's kind of a rare occurrence, but it does happen. And if you find yourself in that situation, you're going to have to find a way to get a little more power to it. I'm also going to take a look at putting another drive in here. If I can get this one out, seems like it latches in there pretty good. There we go. Now, the reason I'm doing this hard drive is thinner. It's not as thick as the one I had in there. This is actually an SSD. But if I slide that in there, I suspect with the case on, there's going to be some room for that to rattle around. See, I can actually hear it. That is not very tight in there, and I suspect that that's what this is for. I could peel off the adhesive backing, put it right here, and that would hold that drive steady. I'm not actually going to stick it on there because I'm not sure what drive I'm going to put in there. So I'm just going to put it there, and yes, that does solve the problem. I don't hear it rattling around anymore. So that's a good thing to have with this device, because depending on the thickness of the drive, you might need it. So that's pretty much it as far as the review. I am going to plug it into my Linux computer and show you whether or not it works on there. Obviously, we would expect it to work on all the operating systems listed here. You simply plug it in, wait for your computer to recognize it, and it will show up as a storage device. There are no drivers needed for this device. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and plug it into my Linux computer. This computer is running Ubuntu 12.04. Now, even though I have it plugged in, I don't see any sign that it is recognized, but that is actually to be expected because the drive I put in this enclosure is brand new and won't have any partitions on it. And so I want to go ahead and go to System Tools and Preferences and Disk Utility. And I see that there's a 120 gigabyte hard drive that shows up here, and that is the one I just plugged in. but it doesn't have any partitions on it, so I'm going to go ahead and say create partition. And for type, I'm going to select NTFS. That way it will work with both Linux or Windows. And for a name, I will just put Bernardo and say create. And there it now has a partition. And I see that now it's recognized as an attached device. So there you can see that it works fine with Linux, as I suspected. If you have any questions about this device that I might be able to answer, leave those in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.